Guys, welcome to my Photopea tutorial. Photopea is a good alternative to Photoshop. It does many of the things that you can do in the Photoshop world. It's free and available on any device over the web. So today I'm going to be teaching you a bit about the type tool and how you can create the fonts have feelings to assignment. So once you go to photopea.com, you're going to go to new project. And I want you to name the project your name, then fonts have feelings too. Okay. For width, I want you to first change it to inches and then make it 11 by 8.5. And I'd like you to change the DPI to 300. Okay, so then you're going to float down here to create. We'll have a white background and it should look something like this. Okay, so I just zoomed in a bit. If you push Command plus or Command minus, you can zoom in. You can also do it by spreading or shrinking your fingers on a touchpad. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bit about the text tool, the type tool, which is right here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to create a text box. All right, so the fonts are up here. There are many, many different types of fonts, which is kind of like why I picked this program. I've got some pre-selected ones that I like. So I'm going to pick my first one. I'm going to pick the size. I'm going to make it a bit bigger just by stretching it out here. And then I'm going to start typing, okay? Yeah, I recently started watching this show. Okay, so once I've finished typing my text box, I can click this check mark and I have my first layer that appears over here. Now, this is where the magic starts to happen. What you can do is you can go over to this layer and double click, and that will bring up the layer style panel. And this is where you can add any number of effects directly onto your font. So you can drop shadows, you can add a color overlay. You have to click on the check mark and on the box itself to change the colors. I'll change it to something red. Okay. I've added a shadow. You can also change the angle of the shadow or the size of the shadow, the distance, the speed, the spread. You can add a stroke, which is a line around the outside. That's a big stroke. I'm going to take it down a bit. Okay, yeah. So this is the layer panel, the layer style panel. And there are other things that you can do as well. And I'd like you to play around with all these settings. Outer glow kind of creates like a halo effect, but it's kind of contradictory with the shadow. Usually pick one of the two over. You can also add a gradient. To add the gradient, you want to kind of disable the color. And yeah, once again, you're going to just pick a light color and a dark color, double clicking, something like that. Okay, all right, so yeah, I think you're getting the idea. Basically, I just want you to play around with all of this and use and learn all of these various features in the layer style panel. Another thing that I want you to know how to do is to go up here to the character and paragraph panels. Now this is this covers everything that we've learned in terms of basically basic typography manipulation, like tracking. You can spread it out. It was set to 0, but you can have it spread, or you could shrink it as much as you like. Boom. Leading, remember, is the line height, and it's not really clear here, but if I press enter here, and if I selected all of this, I can play around with the leading. Notice that I just clicked on leading, and then I was able to just pull to the left or right to further illustrate that. Okay, so all of that is fine. Another thing that I want you to know how to do is to rotate your text. And to do that, you're going to go, first you're going to select your text like this, and then you're going to go up to edit, you have two options. You have transform, which will rotate very specifically. It will also stretch if you're so inclined out. And if you want it just perfectly rotated, you could do it like that. I'll rotate it back. Another tool that I think is more useful and more intuitive is free transform. And this will give you all of the abilities of transform, but you're able to customize it angle percent by percent. So you could do something like that, and then you'll go up to here to the move item and you move it to wherever you want. All right, so that's one thing I want you to know how to do, just the basics. Then there are two other special effects that I'm going to be teaching you about. One is warping. So I'm going to write another thing here. I'm just typing in. I'm going to type in fat. Okay, my text box is a little bit too big, so I'm stretching out. Okay, so let's see. What do I want? I'll make it scary. Okay, not scary. That's not scary. Okay, I don't have my scary one here. Anyway, okay, so, all right, to use this, what you're going to do is you're going to, once you have it highlighted, you're going to go up here to Warp and click on Style. And here you can pick any number of distortions preset that you can impose upon your image. So I'll pick Bulge because I want it to look kind of fatty. That's right, I said fatty. You can balance it out horizontally. You can change the vertical distortion. Yeah. Okay, so this is something that I want you to play around with. You don't necessarily have to use the bulge. You can use any number of different set styles of warp. I just want you to know that this is an option and that you can do some cool things with it. Okay. The last thing I want you to know is that you can add text to shapes. Okay, so I'm over here on the pen tool. Actually, no, I'm not on the pen tool. Okay, so what I'm doing is, oh, sorry. I'm looking for the shape tool. Okay, so I've right-clicked on the shape tool. I'm gone to the ellipse, which is up here, and I'm going to change this from shape to path. Then I'm going to draw a circle, an ellipse. Now, if I hold the Shift key, what it'll do is it'll automatically make it more symmetrical and beautiful like that. I'm going to let go. And then I'm going to go to the text tool. I'm going to pick a different type of text. I'm going commando here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the line or right below the line. If you don't do it right below the line or on the line, it'll start a whole new text box somewhere else, which you don't want. And then you can write. You can write right here. So this is me writing. Mr. Wade is the bomb. And I'm going to click OK. All right. So yeah. As you notice, this is kind of, it's not really where I want it in terms of location. I'm going to slightly change it by centering it, but even still, that's not where I want. So what you're going to do is you're going to go down here and right-click on Pass Select. And what this will do is this will enable you, you can't really see it here, but there are two things here. There's an X and a dot. And if you pull one of them out, I think it's the X that does this, yeah. Okay, so you can rotate it to make it go wherever it is you want. In this case, I want it to look up here. I'll just move it up here. It's not looking good at all. But yeah, so you can rotate it however you want, or you can also flip it inside. And yeah, and I'm just gonna stop. All right, so there you have it. 3 different cool effects. The warp effect, the adding text to shapes, and just kind of the basics of the style layer styles that you can use in Photopea. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day, guys.